just go against it and be like, all right, moment, you feel uncomfortable right now. I'm going to sit in this. I'm going to feel this. And I'm going to know that I'm not going to die. Hello, hello, you beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Michelle. We talk all things life, love, spirituality, love attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. In this video, I'm going to share some of my personal spiritual awakening growth moments. I keep a list in my journal called an expansion list, and I've shared it in many videos. And I have all of my clients, all of my coaching program clients, I have them all do this so that they can see how far they've come. And they can also remember that if these things are resurfacing, it's another layer being peeled off. So when we hop on a manifesting journey, which is why you guys are watching my channel, I love talking about life, love, spirituality, law of attraction, and all of that juicy goodness. But essentially it's life and it's manifestation and how our thoughts are creating our reality. And through the process, we grow and we expand. And all of a sudden we wake up one day and we're different. And we're like, wait, how did I get here? How did I become this person that all of a sudden sets boundaries and is manifesting $10,000 a month? And you're just like, holy cow, I have completely transformed my entire being. How is this possible? And when you have an expansion list, you can actually look back and it's like a timeline of your evolution and your growth. And that's really why your soul is here. You're here to grow. And why not track the little moments where you're seeing yourself grow and be different and make different decisions? And one of the first things that I put on my expansion list was when I started working with my mentor, Anna, back in 2018. I was manifesting a Reiki practitioner to work with in my area. And I had been working with somebody else, but I kind of felt like by the end of the session, I was counseling her. But that also taught me what not to do in my Reiki sessions, right? So everything is a learning lesson. But anyway, so I was kind of pulling away from that practitioner. And I was like, I really want somebody who's just solid in who they are. And they're just here to hold the ground for me. And what do you know? I get a student teacher at my job, and she starts talking to me about this crystal bowl class, this meditation class on Friday nights, 10 minutes from my house. So I go there and I hear my mentor's voice for the first time. And she's a sweet Brazilian accent. She's from Brazil. And I was just like, this is it. This is her. So I went up to her and I was like, hey, can I work with you one-on-one? I didn't even know her. And we've been together ever since. She's been I call her my soul ma. But I started tracking all of my growth because she kept showing me parts of myself that I could not see. And every time I would have this new awareness about myself and my ego, she really taught me about the ego. She pulled me out of my ego. And I find that a lot of people that book sessions with me, they're not quite fully educated on the ego yet. I can see them and how they're still believing that they are their thoughts and they're still in that loop. And I was just thinking while I was getting ready this morning, like I need to start giving my clients the books that helped me really see my ego. And there was a book by Adyashanti, and I can't remember the name of it, but it was something about spiritual awakening. But it was Adyashanti, Wayne Dyer's books. Who else? Obviously Eckhart Tolle, like really any kind of book that really is talking about being still with the mind and becoming the observer of the mind is really, really important. So I brought out my list because I had some moments on here where I started to really see my ego in my sessions with my mentor. And it was like, oh my gosh, I am not those thoughts. I don't have to think those thoughts. I remember sitting on a couch one time and I was paying attention to the mind, right? The ego, and it was telling me to go to the gym, to go to the gym. And I was asking myself, why am I going to the gym? What am I running away from? And I sat on the couch longer and I resisted the voice. And I was like, Michelle, you're not going to go to the gym. But the ego was telling me, you're going to feel better. It's healthier, da, 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 all these different things. But that was my old routine, was to escape my emotions and to go move, right? To move, 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 and to not be still. So some people are the opposite. Some people are fine being still and they need the motivation to move. So they would do the opposite. Their ego would tell them, to rest. But my mind was telling me to go because it didn't want me to actually sit with my trauma, with the loss of my daughter. So as I sat longer on that couch, which my mentor always told me to do, she's like, if you feel like there's a voice in your head pushing you to do something, out of fear or worry, or if you don't do this, then this will happen. She goes, do the opposite. So I was sitting on the couch and I was like, you know what? I'm not going to go to the gym. My body will be fine. I will be fine. And I sat there for 20 minutes and all of a sudden, guess what happened? Within 20 minutes, I started to really grieve the loss of my daughter. And for years, I had been just getting my shoes on and going to the gym. As soon as I'd wake up in the morning, I would just go. I was never fully sitting with it. So when I sat there, within 20 minutes of crying, I felt so much better. And then I went to the gym. So it was like the body wanted to release in that moment, but my mind didn't want it to. My mind just wanted to run away from the emotions. But listen up, you guys, we do not die when we sit with our emotions. They actually dissolve. And then you free yourself in the future from any kind of disease or illness in the body because you're releasing the trauma little by little, like those layers I was talking about, right? So on that day, I wrote down on my expansion list, Michelle, it's okay to be still when you don't want to be still. And that was my permission when I feel that angst, when I feel that need to go to the kitchen cabinet and eat, when I feel that need to get in my car and just leave where I'm at, or if I'm in an uncomfortable environment, I sit in it. I stay in it longer to ask, why is this uncomfortable? Anything that's uncomfortable, you guys, it's a moment of growth. It's an expansion moment. So sit in it. Do not try to numb your way out of it. Do not try to dissociate. Just go against it and be like, all right, moment, you feel uncomfortable right now. I'm going to sit in this. I'm going to feel this. And I'm going to know that I'm not going to die. You're not going to die from your trauma, you guys. You're not going to die from the memories of grief or pain. The suffering happens when the mind continues to think it's painful. And the more you can become aware of the mind and the story it creates about the grief. So if I would have sat there longer than 20 minutes, right? My mind would have been like, oh my gosh, Michelle, this is so sad. You lost your daughter. And then my mind would go, you're never going to have kids again. You're never going to get married. You know, who's going to marry you when you have this grief and they're not going to be able to handle the moments when you're crying out of nowhere? Or if you are in the middle of a baby shower and you want to leave, they're going to judge you. And my mind would tell me all of these stories. That is suffering. But originally, me just sitting there crying for 20 minutes, feeling the pain, letting it go, that's pain, right? But the mind will create future suffering by continuing to tell the story. So my goal in this video is to help you see your ego, to help you see where in your day are you running from what you should be sitting with. And then also, if you actually sit with it, where are you letting the mind take it further and make it worse than it really is? So if we can sit with something for literally 20 minutes, it will dissolve. And then you're free for the rest of the day. And then you don't have to deal with it. It's literally out of your body. And for me, I'm really hoping that you guys feel the gravity of this video, that I lost my daughter. Like that is, and I'm going to cry. That is one of the hardest things a human can experience. And I did it and I'm okay, right? I sit with the pain and it does not kill me. I appreciate her. I love her. I know she's always with me. But if I never sat with that, and if I didn't allow myself to cry right now, if I would have like stopped the video and been like, no, Michelle, not right now, do this after the video. No, we flow with the body. We flow with the intelligence that it is, because it's telling us it's safe to cry right now and it's safe to share emotion, and we don't have to hide it anymore, and we don't have to run from it. We can sit with it. We're not going to die. So whatever you've been through, you know, I've been through physical trauma in my past. I've been through molestation, sexual abuse, like all these different moments. My soul chose to experience these pivotal things in my life that would change my body, right? It would make my body feel tense, not feel safe in the world, not feel safe with other people, not feel safe trusting other people. But for some reason, I experienced it. And I believe it's to be here right now, sharing with you that it does not have to kill us. We do not have to stay in the suffering of our trauma. We get to build a relationship with it, right? So if I am connecting to my body with, you know, what happened to me at 5 years old, and I'm feeling maybe gross, right, in my body that somebody would touch me in that way. And I sit with that and I start to hate my body. That's the natural progression of abuse, is we start to disconnect from the body and we start to see the body as the thing that holds the memory and the pain. So we disconnect from it. We don't want to be in it. We start to overeat. We start to drink. We start to pound it with workouts. We start to do all of these things because we don't want to feel that, right? But the body is the beautiful thing that's keeping you alive right now. So we have to change our relationship to the body. And we have to remove that trauma and say, okay, thank you for the lesson. Thank you for the awareness. I am now going to take that and use it for my mission in some way. Maybe I'm going to write a book about it to bring awareness to it. Maybe I'm going to help other women and men know that they don't have to suffer for the rest of their lives just because this one thing happened, and we can rise above it. So if we get rid of the middle person, right, the trauma, which is in the middle, it's between you and the body. If we can pull that trauma out and then heal the connection between us and our body again, we can rebuild, we can heal. We can then see the beauty in that thing over here that happened to us, it happened for us, but we're not identifying with it, not allowing it to stay. We're saying, thank you, you're no longer a part of me, I've released you. And now I have the lesson, and that's what I want to keep in my heart, is how I can be more compassionate to others and never touch another human being without their permission, right? We are always taking the growth moment from that, the silver lining. But also when the pain surfaces, because it will, right? We sit with it, but we do not stay in the suffering of it. You're not going to continue to tell yourself the story that happened to you. You're going to honor the inner child. You're going to hug him or her and apologize to them that it happened to them, but you're going to tell them, I will protect you now. Nothing will happen again. I got you. And we can take this out of us and we can move forward with grace and with love and with more compassion, forgiveness in our heart, and we can make a difference. And that is how we use the expansion moments to help us elevate, to help us evolve, to help us enlighten further. So when you are doing that, when you are not identifying with the trauma and you're not continuing to tell the story, even though it is painful, I am not diminishing anybody's trauma right now. I want to make that very, very clear. I am not diminishing it. I spent years grieving the loss of my daughter. I spent months trying to connect back to my body when I hated it. So I am not diminishing it, but there is a time and place when your higher self says, all right, it's time to get off the couch. It's time to go live. We still have this life to live. We're still here, right? We can't get lost in the story and the shadow part of our lives. We have to move on and take that silver lining from it and then go be different, right? So these expansion lists are really, really powerful because you're seeing your growth and you're saying, wow, I am not the mind anymore. I am not identifying with the pain from my past. I allow it to surface in my body if more layers need to come out, right? You're not going to run to the gym. You're not going to run to the kitchen cabinet. When you feel that restlessness, usually grief is surfacing, and that's when you need to be still. And you need to go sit and do a meditation or go for a walk, a really, really slow walk where you're being with yourself. And what's really happening is the inner child that was feeling that pain at that time, if you can see them, they're in a room right now, they're turned around in the corner crying. And when you're rushing to go to the gym or to eat food or to drink alcohol, you're leaving that child there by themselves. That is you. You are abandoning yourself in that corner, and he or she is crying. And when we actually sit with our pain, we're walking over to that child, we're gently going down to their level, we're grabbing their shoulders, we're turning them around, and we're hugging them, and we're saying, I hear you. I see you. I know you've been through something so tough, and I'm so sorry that that happened to you. But right now in this moment, you don't have to be scared anymore. I got you. I will protect you. Because most of us did not hear that in childhood. We did not have protection. So what we have to do is we have to go back and reparent that version of us that still lives in us. And we hold them and we take them with us wherever we go. If you're going to the store, imagine you're strapping your little self in the seat next to you. If you're getting food, ask that inner child what they might want. And this is you truly connecting to you. This is the root of self-love. And this is what I do in my coaching program and in my mentorship. Click the links below if this is hitting your heart and you feel this deeply right now. And maybe you're getting emotional and maybe you're feeling this like, oh my gosh, I need this in my life. We all need this. We need to be taught how to deal with our trauma, but not attach to it and not stay in the suffering of it, and allow the pain to surface and take our inner child with us and protect that child from here on out. And if we don't have these tools, we stay in the suffering. And guess what happens? You then keep attracting situations in your life that cause more suffering, more surgeries, more car accidents, more job loss, because the universe is trying to get you to finally look at that child in the corner. This is really powerful, you guys. Write this down in your journal that you are not going to abandon. Maybe comment below, I will no longer abandon myself. I love myself. Okay. And when you write that, and when you type it, you're thinking of you at a certain age in a corner crying, and nobody's seeing them. Everybody's walking by that bedroom and nobody's checking on them. But guess what you get to do? You get to be the one to walk into that room and be the savior. You get to save you. And I could get emotional just thinking about that. It's so beautiful. We're all looking for somebody to save us, right? But that's actually what is meant to happen. You're meant to walk into that room and turn that little kid around and tell them how beautiful they are and how sweet they are. And you give you that love that you did not get. And then we empower that child. We tell them that anything is possible and they can be anything they want to be. And you're learning to love yourself in this adult body. And guess what happens? All of those traumas that kicked you out of your body, every time you were abused, every time you were physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually abused, guess what happens when you're hugging that inner child? All of those fragments are coming back and you're feeling so in your body. And you go to the kitchen cabinet and you pick the healthiest food. You go to the grocery store and you buy all whole, high vibrational foods. You start juicing, you start drinking more water, you start slowing down your thoughts. When you feel antsy and irritable, you actually sit with yourself and say, why am I feeling this? Because you know that when you're antsy and when you're irritable, that signifies that that inner child is back in the corner and you're not looking at him or her. So this is your beacon moving forward. I'm going to end the video here. This is what I teach in all of my programs, and we go way deeper into this. So if you feel called, again, click that link below and get signed up with me. You need support through this. You absolutely cannot do this alone. Yes, you can do the inner child work, but at some point you're going to need somebody else to hold you and see you through this process. But for the rest of your life, this is your beacon. When you feel irritable, when you feel antsy, when you feel unsettled, out of alignment, just remember, when you feel that way, that child is back in the corner and you've somehow abandoned him or her again. Because a lot of times this will surface as us looking for love from a partner. You know, say you see somebody out in X, you see them in a store and you're expecting them, you know, to be a certain way, or maybe you're expecting them to text you after you just saw them, or maybe you shared news with them and you thought they'd be a little bit more compassionate about that news. Well, guess what you're actually doing? You're outsourcing your happiness. You're putting your happiness in somebody else's response when we need to be whole and sovereign. So what I guide my clients to do is to go back, sit in that car after you just see that person and say, what do I need right now? What text can I send myself to say that, wow, that happened to you, that news, that was really hard. And I hear you and I see you, and you're connecting with that inner child again. And this allows you to no longer outsource your happiness. You don't need anything from a partner. You don't need anything from life. You don't need money. You don't need food. You are now the provider for yourself. And this is us integrating the masculine and feminine energy. And when we can master this, and we can always say, okay, if I am unsettled in my life, I know how to fix it. I don't have to go and take something and put it in my body to hurt me or to soothe me or to numb me. I can sit with it and know that 20 minutes with this pain and it's gone. And my inner child's going to be singing and dancing again. You know, when you guys see me on my videos in my shorts on YouTube and I'm singing and dancing in my Jeep, it is because I have just connected with my inner child and we're going out to play. That is the energy that I am in, because I spent years in pain and in suffering, in grief, letting the mind keep me in the suffering, telling me that my life is never going to get any better. So when I'm in my Jeep driving, or if I'm getting yummy food, whatever I'm doing, and I'm sharing my joy, it's because my inner child is doing it. She's finally being seen. She's being taken out and going and seeing the beautiful scenery and a sunset and a sunrise. And she never got that attention when she was little. So I'm giving it to her. And then I share it on YouTube because I want that energy to spill into all of your lives so that you feel inspired to take your inner child out to live life. We spent too long suffering. It is now time to live. And something in my head just said, Michelle, stop rambling. It's my ego, right? So back to the expansion list. Keep a list of all of your growth moments. Write down inner child work. Save this video so you can come back and practice this inner child practice. It really, really changes your experience here. It pulls you back into that body and you're not identifying with the trauma anymore. You're seeing it, you're honoring it. You're actually really honoring the inner child that actually went through it. But then you're not taking it with you. You're leaving it behind and you're saying, I choose better for myself. I want to be in my car singing and dancing and not feel the heaviness of my past. So essentially, we're letting go of the past by doing this, but still honoring the pain and the lesson in it. Okay, so feel free, again, hit the link in the comments below if you want to work with me and you want to go deeper into this, or maybe you don't want to go deeper and you just want to stay right where you're at, but really start to become more aware of the ego. I can help you with that too. I hope this video hit your heart. It is super powerful. My grief and my trauma is mine, and it's no longer mine. It's in the past, but it was still unique to my life experience in this lifetime, and yours is too. So let's honor your experiences and everything that you've been through. Let's not diminish them. And let's go over to that inner child in the corner and get them out and play. Okay, so your call to action today is to take your inner child out and play. Go to the swings, go for a walk, go shoot some hoops, go get a yummy Slurpee or a slushie or whatever they would want. Give them what they would want. All right, lovies, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting me and my channel and my daughter and our story. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell. I will see you in the next one. All right, peace out.